What's the best property investing strategy for 2025? It's a question that I'm often asked, and I'm going to answer it in this property education video. Hello, my name's Simon Zutshi. I've been investing in property since 1995. That's 30 years. And I've been teaching people like you how to be a more successful property investor for the past 2 decades. I've tried lots of different strategies over that time, and what I'm going to teach you in this video is my absolute favorite way of making money from property. Now, you might be thinking, okay, what strategy is going to work best in the 2025 property market? Should you be doing single lets? My view is maybe not. They don't stack up so well in the current market. Should you be doing HMOs? That's a fantastic strategy where you rent out room by room. Should you be doing short-term service accommodation? Again, a very high cash flow strategy. Or should you be doing development, commercial to residential conversion? Or should you be doing commercial property? There are all these different strategies you could use. However, there is a tool, a very special, misunderstood property investing tool, which you can use with all of these strategies, where you can control property and make monthly cash flow and benefit from long-term capital growth without needing a big 25% deposit, without having to get a mortgage. And once you understand how to use this very powerful property investing tool, you can actually get deals done, agreed, sealed and signed, and cash coming in within a month. Now, most people don't know about what I'm going to tell you, including most estate agents and most property investors, and even most property conveyancing solicitors have never heard of what I'm going to tell you. And then there's a smaller group of people who have heard about it and they think they know about it, but I'd suggest they probably don't know about it, because if they did, they would have done some of these deals before. And there's a small group of people, many of them who are my students, who are actively out using this strategy as a real win-win solution for certain people who want to get rid of a property. And there are certain circumstances we're going to mention on this training today where you can use this incredibly powerful tool, which is, of course, called a purchase lease option, otherwise known as a PLO, or maybe just a lease option. So let me give you a little understanding exactly what is this powerful tool and exactly how can you use it to make cash flow and equity growth on property that you don't even own. So what is a purchase option? This is where you enter into an agreement, and it's a legally binding contract with the owner of a property, someone who really doesn't want that property. They want to get rid of it. Maybe it's an inherited property, maybe it's a tired landlord, or just someone who wants to move on to the next property, and they can't sell it. And by the way, in the 2025 property market, which is still a buyer's market, that means there are more sellers than there are buyers, so it's in the favor of buyers. So if you're wanting to invest, it's a great time to be doing it. In this buyer's market, it means there are not that many buyers out there, so sellers are becoming more and more motivated, and they're more open to these creative investing solutions. So first, we find someone who really doesn't want a property. Maybe it's been on the market for a while, maybe they're struggling to sell it because maybe they want a bit too much for it, or maybe they have sold it, the sales fallen through, it's come back on the market, and they're even more determined to get rid of this property. Well, we can find that person, and we can do it by looking online. We can do direct to landlord marketing campaigns such as landlord letters, etc., or word of mouth at networking meetings. We find people who don't want properties, and what we suggest to them is, look, we would love to buy their property, but we can't or don't want to do it right now. But in the meantime, we'd like to rent their property from them with the intention of buying the property in the future. Now imagine they've got a problem with that property, they want to get rid of it. If you take on the responsibility, you're paying them a monthly fee, covering their mortgage, maybe making a bit of profit for them as well, and they've got no hassle. You're not living in the property yourself necessarily. You could do, but from an investing point of view, you're not going to live there, you're going to rent it out with their full knowledge and understanding, but they get to walk away from the hassle, the responsibility, the liability. This is a great weight off their shoulders. You take it on and you make a profit because you pay the landlord, the owner of the property, a certain amount. You rent it out for more money and you make a margin between the two. And that's your monthly profit. And because you've got this contract where you agree a price today for you to buy sometime in the future, the option period, and that might be 3, 5, 7 years away, you lock in a price today, And even if it's today's full market value, there's a good chance in 3, 5, 7 years, that property's going to be worth a lot more money. But you get to buy it at the price that you have agreed today. So you can actually pay today's full market price, because in the future, when values have gone up, which is what we expect in the UK because we live on this island with a limited amount of accommodation, increasing population, as the price goes up over time, you've locked in the price today. So today's full price might well be discounted compared to the future value. And you get to buy at the price you've agreed anytime within that option period, if you want to. And that's the thing I love about options. You've got the right, the choice to buy this property if you want to, but not the obligation to buy. Now, the seller, they have to sell to you. They cannot get out. If you've done the agreement properly through solicitors who know what they're doing, that's one of the challenges, because many solicitors don't know what to do. But if you've got the right solicitor together, the right power team of solicitors, then they can put the paperwork together. And if you were buying a property, not only would you have to put in your big 25% deposit, you'd have to get a mortgage, and that might take 3, 4, 5 months in the current market. Because you're not getting a mortgage, the paperwork can be put together in 3 or 4 weeks. So this person who's got this problem property they want to get rid of, instead of them finding a buyer who's going to buy it in 3, 4, 5 months, they could get rid of the problem by this time next month. That's really, really powerful for them. The biggest problem with a purchase lease option, and the reason it does not work on most property sales, is this. With an option, you've got the right to buy in the future, but you're not actually buying it now. And that may not work for someone who's looking to sell their property now because they want to get the equity from the property. And to be honest, the vast majority of people who are selling a property, they're selling because they want to access the money. Maybe they want to pay down some other debt. Maybe they want to invest in a business or pay for their daughter's wedding. Whatever it is, they're selling the property now to access the money now. So in that case, a purchase lease option is not going to work. And one of the challenges with options, when people learn about this incredibly powerful tool, because it's not really a strategy, it's a tool that can be used in conjunction with any other strategy, when they learn about it, they go out, they try and do it on every single deal, and frankly, most deals, it's not going to be an appropriate solution, because most people selling the property, they want the money from the sale now. If someone's going to pay for their daughter's wedding, and that's why they're selling a property, they can't go and say to their daughter, honey, I know you wanted to get married next year, but actually, we're not going to get the money for 5 years' time. It's okay if you put it off. You're going to have one very upset bride, a bridezilla, okay? So sometimes people need the money, but there's a smaller group of people who are wanting to sell, not because they need the money, but because they just don't want the property. They don't want the hassle, they don't want the liability, the responsibility. And those people, if they don't need the money now, maybe there's lots of equity and they might sell the property and just put the money in the bank. We all know anybody who's got money in the bank right now is probably not getting a very good return on that money. So instead of them getting all the money now, what we can do, we can give them an ongoing income from the property without any hassle or responsibility for them. So the property stays in their name, and if there's a mortgage, the mortgage stays in their name, and we kind of babysit the mortgage for. We cover the mortgage payments, maybe give them a little bit of extra profit as well. So they get to walk away, they don't have the hassle, we take that on, we rent it out for more than we're paying to the owner, we make a profit every single month, and then we benefit from this capital growth. A lot of people say, this is amazing, it means I can go and find people who want to sell, I can start building a portfolio without big deposits, without mortgages, great. But what happens in 5 years' time when I come to buy? How am I going to get the money to buy? Well, it kind of depends. There are lots of different ways you can fund the purchase of those properties. In fact, there are 4 exit strategies at the end of an option period. Most people will buy the property, and I'll tell you how you do that in a moment. If you don't want to buy, maybe the market's not great, you could renegotiate with the owner. And they're not obliged to, but if they don't want the property back, they might be happy to do another 5 years. Or you could assign it to someone else. That means that you're not going to buy it, but someone else is going to buy that property. And here's the thing, if you agreed you're going to buy a property for, say, 250,000, and it's gone up in 5 years' time to 320,000, and you find another buyer, and you give them a bit of a discount, they're going to buy it at maybe 300, even though it's worth 320. They're really happy, but guess what? They're going to buy at 300,000, and the owner is only going to get the 250 that you've agreed. the difference between the two, in this case 50,000, that comes to you as profit. Now that profit from assigning certain option deals could be used as deposit for the ones you want to keep. Or if the value has gone up enough, quite a lot of my students at the moment are going to commercial lenders, people like Shawbrooks, etc. And if the value's gone up enough, they're actually getting a mortgage based on the value instead of the purchase price. So Michelle, one of my clients, she picked up a 10-bed student HMO in Chester. She had a 5-year lease option. She made money every single month from that property. She had agreed a purchase price of $350 at the time. That was probably the true market value of the property. But by the time she came to buy it 5 years later, not only had the market gone up, but she spent some money to improve the property. And so it's worth $550. Based on a $550 value, she's buying for $350. She was able to get a mortgage of $410. So the mortgage was still more than the purchase price she was paying the owner. So Michelle not only had the benefit of 5 years of cash flow from a property that she didn't own, when she bought the property, she actually got paid to buy the property. If you like this, just put paid in the comment below this video if you like the idea of being paid to buy a property that you didn't even own in the first place. And what some people do is they have a really good cash flowing property. They use some of the cash flow they make over that time as the deposit to buy them. So there are lots of ways of buying a property in the future. Don't worry about that just yet. What you want to do is focus on going and finding those truly motivated sellers. Who do you look for? Let me give you a couple of tips. How do you find them? So first of all, there are two groups of people who might not want the property, but they don't necessarily need the money right now. The first one is people who inherit a property. It might have no mortgage on it. It's the other side of the country. It's a deceased estate. So someone lived there for 30 years. They passed away and they've left it to family or friends, whatever. The people who've inherited it, it hasn't cost them a penny. It's kind of free money to them. And they don't really want to spend the money to do it up. They don't want to be landlords. They want to get rid of the property, but maybe they don't need the money now. An option could work perfectly for them. And then also we've got people who are landlords who've got a portfolio of properties they built up over the years. They're now deciding to get out of the game. They're retiring. Maybe they're retiring early because they don't like the way the market's changing or there's more regulation now. And they don't necessarily need the money because they've got lots of properties. They just don't want the hassle anymore. And the great thing about working with landlords, many of my clients have found one landlord and picked up 5 or even 10 or more properties from one landlord. How amazing would that be if on the very next deal you do with one landlord, you pick up enough property to completely replace your income without having to get any mortgages or put down big deposits? That'd be pretty amazing, right? So that's just 2 examples of the kind of people who potentially we could do purchase lease options with. How do you find them? Lots of great ways. We use software called Property Filter. We give to all our people in our Mastermind program, people who do coaching with us. And in that, you can look for properties that are listed for sale and also for rent. And there are about 5,000 properties all over the UK, literally in every city right now, where the owner is listing it for sale and for rent. And let's think about what they're saying. The owner's saying, well, I want to sell this, but if I can't sell it, I'm prepared to rent it. And that's exactly what we're doing with the purchase lease option. We're renting for a period of time, then we've got the right to buy that property in the future. When you understand how to use this properly and what to say to people and how to structure this win-win deal, this is an incredibly powerful tool that can help someone solve their property problem and you pick up a great deal at the same time. It's one of the most powerful but yet misunderstood strategies because most people have not heard about it. Most people have not actually done it. And even people who think they know about it, I would say if someone thinks they know about an option but they haven't done one yet, they probably don't know enough. Now, I've got a limited amount of time in this video. I do hope this has been useful. If you've enjoyed this, just put option below. If you're excited about how you could use purchase, put option below in the comments. And make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell icon, because whenever I bring out a video, I want to make sure you're notified, because some of them are timely. There are time-sensitive opportunities in the market. I don't want you to miss out. No point watching the video 6 months later after it's come out. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified any time a video comes out. And I'd really appreciate if you'd like the video as well. Maybe comment below, what did you like the most out of it? Because that will help the algorithms and help more people see it. I like to do quite short, concise videos on this YouTube channel. I do have much longer training sessions that are often recorded or even live online training masterclasses. And I've got one all about purchase lease options, how you can grow your portfolio, whether you're completely new or a more experienced investor already, how you can grow your portfolio without big deposits, without mortgages, and it's a 90-minute online training. I think you're going to get massive value from. So click on the link below. It's completely free of charge. And before you go watch any other videos, I'd come and register for that training. The sooner you do it, make sure you come and join it live. If you take too long, you might watch a recorded version of it. And being there live is always the best thing because you can get your questions answered. I'm sure you've got lots of questions thinking about this strategy. This sounds amazing, but what about this? What about this? What about this? That's why I'm doing this live training, so you can get to ask me questions. So click on the link below, come and register for the training with me. And as ever, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill.